It's the top of the hour out there, doctors. We're going to get started right now. As you can see, the OHS man, that's patterned after Doug with his big muscles, with all the training and exercising nutritional areas that we have. So let's switch to the OHS man and go right into the meat and potatoes today. This is me when I was just a couple of days younger. Those of you who don't know, I'm 70 years old right now and have been in practice for 48 years. And each year I learn more. And someone said, well, I'm sure be glad if when I finally know everything. I can remember back 20 years ago, I told Claudette, I said, you know, I'm going to go to a seminar this weekend on, and she says, oh my God, reading the body, forget it. And that's really the way it is. If you think you know it all, you have not arrived. There's so much to know and so much to learn and so much research coming out now in the field that we're in. It's an amazing situation. So our goal, Doug's and mine, and all of our teams that support us, is to make the best nutrition, the best structural correction, the best emotional detoxification, rewriting the script in the body all the way along, and we've certainly done that. It's kind of interesting as you look at what makes OHS different. Why am I with Optimal Health Systems right now? Doug, would you just talk about the organically fermented, high potency, and pre-digested, and I'm going to go from there.
Absolutely, and real excited to be here, Dr. John. I think that the big thing that we've come to a conclusion of over decades of time, myself and Dr. John, is that we've known that whole foods are the key to health, and being able to get them to the cellular level is really what it's about. And some patients were able to deliver nutrients to the cell level because they could digest and absorb and assimilate the nutrients, and others couldn't. And we wanted to fix that problem so that every patient was able to absorb the nutrients at the cell level. And that's where the organically fermented whole food cultured media came in. And that's where we can take nutrients and be able to culture them in a way with probiotics, enzymes, organic minerals, other environments within that, to be able to boost the potency of the whole foods, much like people use when they're using synthetics. But now we get the whole structure. It's organic. It is a dextro-rotating molecule that it can enter the cell and provide life. And so every formula now goes through our cultured media process to guarantee that potency, and they're also all pre-digested to ensure that they're able to get in no matter what the system's up to, no matter what the stressors are, the condition, the disease, the acidity, different levels of pH, that the nutrients are going to be able to get there because it's pre-digested so it can be delivered. Your body doesn't have to do the work.
Doug, can you tell us how the pre-digestion takes place? I've had some people that's confusing to them. You mean it's like a mother bird, she chews up the food, then she spits it out in the baby bird's mouth? No, so that's more sophisticated than that. Tell me how the enzyme.
That's the way it's done in the animal kingdom, but in the plant kingdom it's a little different. But it's the same concept. Basically, in our world, what happens is the body will utilize enzymes, probiotics, and other nutrients to digest food. And the same thing happens in nature. So what we do is we take the food. Let's take an herb, for example, like bacopa that's in the formula we're going to talk about tonight. It's very hard to digest. We'll take it and we'll take enzymes, we will take probiotics, the minerals, and in a medium, liquefy it, digest it down so it's hydrolyzed down, and then re-dry it so that it's already in a state to be able to deliver to the cell. The body doesn't have to break it down. And that's what we mean by pre-digested.
And that's an incredible situation because the research shows us that we can now get up to 300% more nutrients into the cell. Now, Doug, tell us a little bit about glandulars, because this is what we're known for and specialize in my world more than your world. You were more with herbs and vitamins, and I've come from this glandular world. When you do a normal pre-digestion system of, say, these herbs, how many days does it take usually, or hours?
Well, we can, everything in our world, even if we have the worst, herb, root, type of bark type situation, if you want to break it down, the worst case scenario is up to a week. But when it comes to glandulars, because they come from proteins that it's almost like a Kevlar vest where the fibers go one way, one direction, the next later they go another direction, and that we were amazed. It takes up to 3 weeks to break some of those down to pre-digest them. So how they work in a normal patient is beyond me, because it would take a ton of energy for the patient to be able to break it down. And we do know that they've worked from your previous work and formulations, but it does take energy from the body to do that. Now that they're pre-digested, it changes the whole world, and it is a much longer and harder process. We were blown away when you asked us to do it, how long it took.
It was a real insight for us, because there are other companies out there with grinders, but they're just the grinders, which means it's going to take the body 1, 2, or 3 weeks to break them down if they had all the enzymes and probiotics, etc., that they need, which we know many people did not. Flip to that next page for us, if you would, do that next slide, Doug. Because what I want you to really understand here, because I've been in practice 48 years, because I got into nutrition just like the second year into practice, Doug and I started formulating them together in a little different situation, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that, a long time. And the more I learn, the more I learn there is to learn, like I started this whole talk off about. And the interesting part about this, when I formulated for 4 different companies, one of them being myself, I have formulated over 200 nutritional products. And the things that I developed before, like Brain, Total Brain, Max Brain, and now Opti Brain, we use the same amounts of nutrients, but we have them pre-digested. So you've just increased 300% the amount of digestion, assimilation, and utilization in the body. I mean, it's hard to comprehend. When you think, well, if that's the case, then your must be more expensive now than you ever been before. The answer is no. The way Doug has done it, he's kept things very economical. Most of the time, we beat other people's prices, and definitely the formulas have been improved every time. Every step I've taken, they've improved, and never before has a whole food, a whole non-GMO food nutrient pre-digestion ever existed. That's a patent process that Doug uses to be able to do this. And by doing this, we'll take the same amount of milligrams that we had with the regular product, but increase the utilization by 300%. I've said it 3 times. I want you to really catch the vision here of why these products are so much better than anything that's out there. And Dr. Amen wrote a book called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And many of you read about that, and many of you heard me talk on it. I've lectured with Dr. Amen, kept in close contact with him. I've had the SPECT scans done and reading from the accidents that I've had just to see what damage has been done and what we can do to change them with laser, with nutrition. And nothing has existed like OptiBrain before. So if you take a child, whether it's ADD or ADHD, why do they have that? Well, it's incomplete digestion, assimilation, and utilization. It's the brain is locked up. It doesn't methylate properly. There's toxic accumulation. There's imbalance. We have formulated one product to help the whole brain, brainstem, spinal cord, and the medulla spinalis to function better. And there's nothing I can say about that that would give you the idea of how many improvements we've made on this particular product to be able to deliver what we do. Why don't you shoot the next page there, Doug, and just take a look at that. Memory, focus, mood, alertness, clarity, ADD, ADHD, as I mentioned. Dr. Amen, in his talk, and I'm not going to quote it exactly, but it seems to me he said that it takes 12 to 14 years from the time they can see Alzheimer's on a brain, on a SPECT scan of the brain, before it actually manifests symptomatology. So imagine if that 12 to 14 years they were taking this product to help repair, regenerate, and remove toxins, etc. Why would the body ever have to develop such a thing? So it is very good to do scanning to find out exactly where you are. It's even better to do nutritional support. So hopefully you never wind up with a dysfunction to that degree. The brains are literally created from the time we're born, and they shrink. The older we get, the smaller they get. Another interesting part about that is that you're aware now that we're teaching stem cell seminars, not to inject stem cells, but biological allografts, where the body can produce its own stem cells. We have a new nutritional product coming along the way that OHS has helped me carry to a new level to help stem cells produce and reproduce much better in the body and last much longer. And what the research I'm looking at and talking to Dr. Harris about is if you can increase the brain stem and the cells to be better and the overall brain to be better, then your telomeres are staying longer. And I know there's a lot of hype about telomeres, but who's got the nutrition to back it up? Very inexpensively is us, and only us will do this. 1 in 5 people will get Alzheimer's in their lifetime. 7 million have attention deficit disorder. $60 billion is spent a year just to treat mood disorders. This posterior stress is just amazing, particularly with the wars and things that have gone on. But there's a lot of other things that can trigger that. Fastest rising disorder and treated disorder that exists right now. 7 out of 10 people claim to have memory lapses and focus problems. And some people will say, well, how do you keep going at 70? I mean, you don't look 70, you don't act 70. Well, I'm not 70. I might be by according to birthdays, but definitely in taking this nutrition, other nutrition, and now using the stem cells, we're regenerating the body at a much greater level. And it's a very exciting concept that, Al, you can take advantage of when we have homecoming this year. We're probably going to go into February this year to give us a little bit more time on some of the current research we have going on. We'll start announcing those dates and the speakers there. Doug, once you talk, this nootropics was even new to me when you did that. I know you have doctors saying, what are you talking about? Elaborate, please.
Well, it's actually really exciting, and I think it's a word that is used, and as Dr. Brimhall mentioned, it's something that we all know. It's just they put a word to it. But nootropics and neuroplasticity is the two concepts that I want to really explain for a minute to help you understand this formula and what's going on with it. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to recognize and form neural connections. Now, it's especially in response to learning and recovering from injury. Now, injury could be a spinal cord injury, it could be just a muscle injury, any type of injury. It's what keeps a brain nimble and alert, the neuroplasticity. And the research has been out there to show that there are specific nutrients that improve neuroplasticity. It's not like we're guessing and hoping that there's something there to help these connections in the brain. You know, and I really want you to understand that the ability of the central nervous system to remodel itself is there. That's what neuroplasticity is. It's how we adapt to changing conditions, learn new facts, and develop new skills. The brain is always changing, as Mark Hallett mentioned in his work, his research in 2005. And what we want to do, since the brain is changing, the brain is constantly wanting to improve, we want to provide the nutrients to it so that it can, because it's either going to be improving or, as Dr. John mentioned, it's actually going to be shrinking, actually losing its ability or its neuroplasticity. And so it's not that it's a thing that has to happen, that our brain shrinks and we have those problems. It happens mainly due to a lack of nutrients getting past the blood-brain barrier and allowing the body to improve neuroplasticity. The ability to rewire your brain allows you to improve your health, your mental well-being, and quality of life. That's why the research is so strong. They're able to measure IQ, measure memory, measure cognitive thinking and function. And a malleable brain is a happy, healthy brain. It allows you to recover from stroke or injury, autism, learning disabilities, and so on. The more malleable the brain is, the more improvement you can get from any aspect. And for those that don't have major diseases, to be able to stop the process from happening so fast of the brain actually losing its functionality, its ability, its pliable benefit that allows the nerves and the neurons to connect. And the more you focus and practice on rewiring your brain, the stronger the new connections become, as long as the nutrients are present, because the nerves go along and every once in a while you get a synapse, and that synapse is like a V, and there are certain nutrients that have to be present to be able to allow that to fire, to be able to have the nerves continue to fire and go down their pathway. And if those nutrients aren't present, specifically the cholines, the B vitamins, and those things, then it doesn't happen. And that wire, that neurological connection actually starts to deteriorate. So what are nootropics? And now that we understand neuroplasticity, nootropic, it really literally means toward the mind. They're nutrients that have been proven, and they have to be proven through research, to be able to benefit the mind. Some people call them smart drugs or cognitive enhancers. It's something that has a quality of having positive effects on organically impaired cognition of the nervous system. So there are nutrients that we call nootropics, but we can only call them a nootropic if they have research proving that they can repair or enhance the function of the brain and the nervous system. And that's where the nutrients come in OptiBrain. It was amazing to me that when Dr. Brimhoff formulated his first formula years and years ago, there wasn't even a lot of the research out of nootropics, but yet he was using a lot of the same herbs and ingredients that now we call a nootropic herb or ingredient, that he just knew it from other research or being able to test other ways. And so it was exciting to see that those nutrients were the ones that I would have picked even if we were going from the start. But he was using them in a synergistic way, and we were able to take that research and the formula from years and years and years and be able to play off of it, which was a huge advantage versus other products in the market today. And so there's a great chance you'll see a profound improvement in all aspects of brain health with your patients, including motor skills, the ability for the patients to heal, and not just basic cognitive thinking that a lot of people use these formulas for. And all I did is wanted to hit on a few of the key ingredients. There's so many ingredients in this formula in the proper dosages. And as Dr. John mentioned, one of the problems is that there are so many different nootropics that enhance brain function in the CNS from different levels. It's hard to get the dosages needed, but when you pre-digest them, you're able to use the smaller amounts but get higher effective work on it, as Dr. John mentioned, the 300%. So it really allows us to really boost a formula up with a ton of nutrients and not just have it be for label claim, but actually have it be so that it functions and gets in and does its job as a nootropic, helping with neuroplasticity. One of the main herbs is Bacopa herb. It's been shown to have both short-term and long-term use effects. It boosts the brain health, the focus, and attention. And understand, these are double-blind, placebo-controlled studies that this information comes from. So it helps to level out the anxiety and the depression because of the regulation of dopamine. It's a great, great nutrient. We found it very hard to pre-digest, so we know that the formula is going to work much better than others that might even have it. And Dr. John had used a very special form of a choline that we understand why now and are using, because it acts as a learning neurotransmitter with memory and mood. As I thought, why in the world is he using this form? But it was one that actually can get past the blood-brain barrier, which we didn't even know. I didn't know at the time. There wasn't research out on it, but it was the one that Dr. John had used. So we were excited to see why it would be beneficial in this, latest and most improved formula. Dr. John, did you want to comment on that a little bit? Hope you might have stepped away for a minute. So let me just continue on a little bit.
I muted myself so I wouldn't hear background noise.
Oh.
What I've always done is use a 5-point criteria. I read all the literature there is, and then I use my innate ability to test things and blend them to see how they go together. So I would muscle test everybody once I use the nutrients. I've used the synergistic approach to see how they work together. Then I'd put them on the EAV, electroacupuncture by Vol, the one we use now is the ASA, to measure how does it affect the whole body going here. And then, of course, we would check the blood before and after. We check muscle testing before and after, and a couple other things I won't share with you. Keep a little of my trade secrets down here. But what works, and Brett's always trying to take a formula that I do. He seems to do literature. He's going to thumb through to see if I missed it. I said, Dad, how did you get all those? So we just kind of give you a little bit of insight there. It's kind of interesting working with Mark Harris, too. Mark, as you know, graduated from high school at 7 and college at 9, and before he was 13, he had 3 PhDs, an MD, and an ND. And he spends his life testing the products that I formulate, trying to figure out how they work so well and documenting what they do. So it's a really a great team effort that allows us to come up with what we use, and they work. By the time we prove they work.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is it's important. I know that doctors, all you mainly care about is that the product works. And that is where the rubber meets the road. But understanding this, like the choline DMAE connection, is important because DMAE is a building block for acetylcholine. Without it, your body wouldn't receive the signals from the brain or the nervous system. In other words, it's absolutely needed to work with choline to be able to provide that RNA DNA factor. And there's a lot of formulas that will have one or the other, but not both, which is extremely important in a formula. Huperzine A inhibits an enzyme that degrades the acetylcholine. It helps with mental clarity, concentration. The neuroplasticity is a huge factor with huperzine A. That's how come the research is so strong on it and people are loving it. There's also an amino acid from green tea leaves, and we're not wanting to use caffeine. And if you look at a lot of these formulas on the market that call themselves nootropics and that, all they are is just products with a ton of caffeine in them. People are like, oh, it works. No, you're just getting a caffeine high, and it's actually causing damage. But there is one benefit in the caffeine molecule itself, that why a lot of people call it a nootropic. But if you look into it, there's a specific amino acid extracted from green tea leaves that you don't get the caffeine, but you get the benefits of the dopamine, serotonin production to be able to give you the nootropic, the feel good, the feel happier feeling in the brain without damaging the adrenal glands and that with synthetic caffeines or any caffeines at all. There is no caffeine in this formula, but your patients will tell you they're getting energy because the mind is getting the energy from it, and we use L-theanine and not caffeine. Tyrosine's another amino acid used. It's used a lot in the sports arena, tremendously, to be able to help people with their focus and their mood and their energy when they're going through stresses and that with the season and different things. And as you know, we all need it ourselves and for the patients too. And as far as comparison, we took the top 3 formulas on the market and compared them to OptiBrain. The first one is Limitless Brain. It's the one that you see the most advertised all over TV. You get thousands of emails on it, and they promote and have lots of celebrities promoting it and those types of things. And if you compared what it would take to get 90 capsules of their formula, it would be $119. And look, the only thing we don't have in our formula that they have is caffeine, which we don't want to have. But look at all the areas that ours has that they don't. They don't have the DMAA, the GABA, the glutamic acid, the extracts. They don't have the inositols and the olivine, the phosphatidylserines, and all these important things. And then also Zymogen and standard process products that basically the key ingredients aren't even present. So, we don't want to sit there and bash people, but it's important that if you're getting a nootropic or something to be able to help the cognitive function, dadgum, you better be using the nutrients that research shows helps with that situation, to be able to improve the neuroplasticity of the brain. And it blows me away that these companies will use 1 or 2 ingredients and not even super high doses and go out and just spend all their money marketing and charge a ridiculous amount for the product. And we can make a formula and pre-digest it and get it to you very efficiently at a good cost so that the patient doesn't pay a tremendous amount, but the doctors are able to make a very good profit margin on it. And so we're able to make these claims because the research shows the nutrients do this, that the nutrients in OptiBrain improve mental clarity, boost ability to focus, improve concentration, increase alertness, raise intelligence, increase energy, boost memory, and improve mood. Those are all statements based on the specific ingredients within the formula and the double-blind research showing what they can do. And I got a call from Dr. John. He was mad at me because we sold out. We'd been, a year making this formula. We did. We blended it. We pre-digested it. We came out with it, and doctors ordered it. It was normal that we do with a product launch. But then the doctors immediately, within just a couple of days, saw the benefits, started taking it themselves, and just called and bought us all out of that batch. So we immediately went in and started pre-digesting and made another one, and it is in as of today. We made a bunch, so we should be in good shape. But we did sell out, but we have it back in stock now for the doctors that were wondering about it and being able to have it available. And now we see the need and what's out there, and we'll make sure to stay ahead of the ball game with it and not have that issue again. Dr. John, before I talk about kind of the special night, do you want to mention any more? I kind of took off there on the research. I didn't mean to cut you out there.
No, I think that's what doctors really want. Yes, they want to know it works. They want to know what it works for. I'm going to go back to my original statement from Dr. Amen. If you change the brain, you can change your life. When you change the brain, every part of the body functions better. As chiropractors, those of us that are, always talk about treating people from above down, inside out. Yet how many of us are treating the brain? Those of us do craniosacral, percussor, adjuster, percussor, laser, is doing it. But nutritionally, we have stepped out of the box. We have created a whole new box here to allow the body to function from above down, inside out, much better than we ever have. And when you think about that statement that I learned back in Palmer 50 years ago, above, down, inside out. When you think about the brain and now the function that we can help improve, but the inside out too, although it had a slight different meaning when that was coined. What about digestion, assimilation, and elimination? That's part of our inside too. Also the inside of the spinal cord and the nerves, where they go to communicate with the rest of the body. This nutrition is designed from top down, inside out. So let's embrace our heritage, where we came from, and put our money where our mouth is, because we definitely can measure the results. In muscle testing, it's just hard to find something that doesn't improve by doing this, because you're doing just that. You're helping neurological function to improve, increasing plasticity, helping to prevent the shrinkage. So it doesn't matter what age you are benefiting from this. Of course, the older you are, the more you need it, but in the growth and developmental years, it's helping these kids above and beyond anything we've ever had before in ADD, ADHD, or even learning disabilities, maybe backed by some organic problems that happen at birth or thereafter. If you try it, you will like it.
And then, it's interesting. We're in a small town here that has a college, and already a lot of the students are saying, hey, we love this for studying, to be able to keep focus. We don't want to take these things a lot of these kids are doing, running around taking the Adderalls and those drugs. And we like the fact that we can take a natural formula that improves our focus and our energy to be able to get the studying done and get the work done. So we're real excited about that. For a short time, Dr. John's allowed us to do something special for you. As you know, we never ever do a discount higher than about 15, sometimes maybe 20 for a short time off of the wholesale pricing, but we're doing it for the next 48 hours because we were out, and just as a lot of you were asking about it, and for those of you that have taken your time and your busy schedule and your evening to spend a few minutes with us tonight, the normal retail to your patients is $44. You buy it, of course, for $22. And for the next 48 hours, they're going to do a flash sale of 25% off that for only $16.50. And just mention Brain Webinar when you call the 1-800 number to be able to get that discount. And we'll honor that for the next 48 hours. And we're super excited, doctors. I hope you like the new label on that too. The reason we changed that up is because we're able to make these claims about the ingredients in the formula, and we wanted them right there on it so your patients could see it and be able to basically expect what it says there. They can expect alertness and be able to have better cognitive function and clarity, and that really helps to know that, hey, this is there. We can't just say it unless there's proof that these nutrients perform these actions within the body and help with the neuroplasticity. So we hope that you enjoyed the call tonight and that you'll take advantage of this. Stephen and your rest of your reps will be here tomorrow morning, and we look forward to taking care of you. And please get with us and let us know the results you're getting so that we can help share this with others. Dr. John?
Yeah, I just wonder if Clark had any questions. If you have any questions, why don't you fire them in real quick and we'll discuss those. Clark, are there any that come in up to this point? He's silent on us. The last
I think we didn't let them know question time, so I'm not seeing any questions, at least as of right now.
All right, we'll give them a couple of minutes to write those in. Just to tell you what's up and coming here in the near future, next week, not on Tuesday, but on Wednesday night, we're going to have the owner of Vox. Vox is a special sock that people wear that help the brain function. So they asked me to test this out, and I heard about it from Jonathan Walker. Jonathan Walker was talking about in the peripheral neuropathy, the special sock that had been designed. And you think, that's kind of hoaxy, a sock that affects the brain. Well, very specifically, if you look at a foot, you can see the neurological pathways. We have all kinds of charts that show whether it's reflexology or neurological peripheral nerve pathways, and they're tied together through the whole body. And they've developed a technology that literally stimulates those points to improve brain function. So I've been testing the Vox socks in relationship to the Opti brain, and I'm seeing actually miracles happen from this. So I want you to get these nutrients, especially at this low price that we're offering them at right now. Start testing your patients like you normally would, whether it's range of motion or cognition or even eye function, because an eye are extension of the brain, your eyes are. And then test this. Any muscle test you want to do in the body, give them Opti Brain, you're going to see a difference. Then with the Vox socks we'll talk about, I'm wearing some right now because I want to stay young. And my kids are 6.5 now. I want to keep up with them when they're 20. And it's all this research that Doug's doing and that we're laying it out to the world. I think it's a worthwhile go. Clark, did we get anything else? I guess
a couple of questions about what's the future in additional supplements coming out.
Look at that. These guys are favored and they get pushy. Hey, we've been working on these for a long time. Heart is coming out. Doug, what do you anticipate? Opti Heart is coming how soon?
Well, we have a couple things right before that. We have the new STEM formula coming out real soon, so it's ready for the new seminar that you're having in California. You'll be able to have it there. We're also coming out with a formula that's going to help people that are on the higher protein diets, or even ones that aren't, a CLA product to help with fat burning within the next few weeks, and then the heart formula right after that. So 3 formulas are coming down the pike very quickly, I think within the next 6 weeks for the doctors. We're super excited about it. We're able to be able to get these ready, but I think that the next big one right away is going to be the STEM formula, the CLA, and then the heart.
Another question here. Why does this formula not have brain glandular?
The formula, do you want me to get that, Dr. John?
Good.
Yeah, so one of the reasons that this formula has taken a long time for us to come back out with is because of concerns that we have to be able to call it a brain formula and a nootropic neuro enhancer, and we're waiting on being able to be able to make those claims still with that, and we're not at this time. And so we took the breakdown of the amino acids and that comes from that glandular and added it to the formula so we can still get the same benefit while we're waiting on the ability to be able to have it in an official brain formula because of the new FDA regulations.
They keep breathing down our neck pretty hot and heavy, and Doug said, what are we going to do? They're just not going to allow us to do that for now. I said, well, let's do what we already know works and then work around getting other things back in as they allow us to do it. So constantly we're having to work around their regulations. Seems I've heard now if Noah was asked to build an ark, there'd be too many regulations, he would never get it done. So get what we've done now. But thank you, that was a good question.
How fast do you see results in patients?
With muscle testing, 30 seconds, 13 seconds, 3 seconds. You're just, I don't care what you're testing, just the normal muscle testing you do, or neurologically, if you're doing range of motion, if you're doing the different tests that we would do neurologically, I'm seeing a change immediately. So when I'm not only identifying by swallowing there's a brainstem problem, or snapping the fingers, or eye movements, all of those, I will go ahead and laser those while I open these up and dump some under the tongue, and you're seeing incredible results. And the patients are getting that sense of well-being within an hour, sometimes within a few minutes.
And, you know, as far as taking the formula and having it work, what we're seeing with people saying, oh, wow, my focus is improving, you know, like by the time the formula gets digested and delivered to the cells, it's about a 15-minute process. So I'd give myself about 20 minutes if people are taking it before a test, or, you know, before sometime they know they're going to have to focus and study hard to be able to get the nutrients assimilated and get past the blood-brain barrier and get working. And so, you know, one is the testing immediately at Dr. John, and the other is, you know, for it to get into the system through the blood and be able to assimilate and feel that benefit.
And that's what makes muscle testing so powerful, that when you put it in the mouth, you put it under the tongue, the buccal membrane to absorb it. It's like putting one magnet next to another one. You don't have to wait for a week or a minute. Instantly, you see that change. That's why it's so powerful to do the muscle testing to demonstrate the change. So they'll wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 or 20 to see the neurological processing really get that absorption utilization. Using them together is amazing. In fact, Doug and I made a video here a few months ago. It's being launched right now for those you might feel a little weak in muscle testing, or you want to know about it or know more. Tell them what you've got coming up there, Doug.
Well, American Chiropractor is sending out 50,000 emails tomorrow morning on the video that we shot that teaches people how to simply do the muscle testing from Dr. John himself. We followed him and went down a mesa and got him cornered and had him do testing, and we spliced and that videos that was hours and hours of footage into just 10 minutes to be able to have people say, oh, here's how to quickly do it. We took graphs that Dr. John made years ago, went and simplified them so that people that have never done muscle testing before, if they'd like to try it through Dr. John's process and his history, be able to quickly do it and be able to see the effects and decide then if they wanted to take it to the next level and come to the convention in January and really, get certified and go into it deeper. So any doctors that are interested in that, we'll be sending that email out to all of you also if you're already in the system. If not, call in and make sure you're in the system and get that and watch that video of Dr. John promoting that. And we're real excited about it.
We have a lot of things in the background. One thing that'll slow us down a little bit is Doug has got some new property down in southern Arizona. We're working to get some resources to be able to make more products faster and to extend his manufacturing facilities. So there's some very exciting things coming up. Hopefully we can pull it off in the next few months to really get it going. I've had some questions, and really good ones from doctors that say, why all of a sudden are you pushing things like stem cells? You've never talked about them before. Well, we've always wanted to have stem cells. Some of you are probably aware of a pitcher, I think he was the pitch for the Yankees in the 40s, and this was done, and he couldn't pitch anymore. And then they did injections of the allografts, which are like from they produce more stem cells in the body to regenerate much faster. Now, I've been doing those to myself now. I've had 4 rounds where my back was broken, and my knee, I tore up my medial meniscus, this area like that, so I can really feel the difference. The reason I talk about it now is the process has just been phenomenally improved. In the old days, if you wanted to get any stem cells, you'd have to go inside the body and inject and pull out. Just the process alone from the lab is $400. Then you have to inject or put a needle in there and draw it out and then prepare it. It was just a nightmare. Now, where we have the new stem cell nutrition that helps the body to improve its health and wellness, and just like this pitcher that couldn't pitch anymore, they did the injection straight into the areas of damage into his body, and he could throw faster and more accurate in his 40s than he did when he was a teenager. And that's what we're shooting for with the kind of nutrition we are, and even expanding into the world of injections. Dr. Brett's been doing PRP, Dr. Mark's been doing PRP, the plasma-rich protein, which I just wrote an article on that here in the last couple of weeks. Come and take a look at these seminars. Dr. Brett hires a nurse practitioner in Arizona. That works good. It works good here in Colorado. You have to find out from your own state of how your laws work. But we're complementing the nutrition with deep, energetic, live cell injections in there, or from the biological allografts, which turn into stem cells. Growing up in the chiropractic world, we didn't really hear much about stem cells because the technology didn't exist 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. It just didn't exist. Now we're able to complement the physical treatment. The nutritional approach was literally injections into a damaged area. And Dr. Mark, I asked him, I said, have you had any failures? Tell me about Alzheimer's. Tell me about Parkinson's. Are these so tough? He says, look, I've even helped ALS, which is one of the toughest, or peripheral neuropathy, different things that we just pull your hair out as a chiropractor or even acupuncturist. You help them, but you have to measure sometimes the improvement 5%, 10%, you get 50 or 60. It's amazing. And yet with this, even though it might take more than one treatment, 2, 3, 5, 6, or 8, if you talk about Parkinson's, we don't treat the disease still. We're regenerating the tissues at a great level. If you had 0 stem cells being manufactured in your body, you would last 2 hours. So that's how fast and how much replication is needed in our cells every day. And when the body's in trouble, it sends out a messenger called cytokines, and cytokines draw the stem cells into the area. So when we're giving things like Opti Brain and Opti Adrenal and Opti Thyroid, now we're backing it up. These patients have literally lost hope, and just general nutrition or general adjusting or even acupuncture is slow to give them results, we can go in there and inject the biological allografts, and we can increase the reproduction, the manufacturing, the usability. Some of the researchers say that one stem cell when you're younger can last 1,000,000 times. I saw one PhD said 1,000,000,000 times. Yet when you're my age at 70, you've lost 70% of your stem cells. Well, why do I want to do that if I have the ability to take OptiBrain, OptiThyroid, OptiIodine, and give myself an extra boost with this? So to give you something to think about, why you want to show up to homecoming and watch the other webinars coming along, because we've got some really exciting things going to happen in the next few months. Any more questions, Clark?
No, that's it.
All right, that sounds good. I'm ready to sign off. Doug, you?
Doug took off to.
Doug said he had to.
Okay, he's probably off
Doug.
doing research and training. All right, gang. Well, we're going to say good night. God bless you all. We look forward to seeing and hearing from you again. Tune in next Wednesday night. We're going to tell you some of the new neurological stimulation processes by new technology to the feet. Good night. God bless.